Hello, it's Sunday, May 28th of 2023, and today I'm taking a double-decker Empresa Cruz travel bus from São Paulo, Brazil's Tiete bus terminal to Ibitinga, a medium-sized countryside town about 350 kilometers or 215 miles away. The Tiete bus terminal, named after the nearby river of the same name, is the largest in South America and the second largest in the world, only behind the Port Authority bus terminal in New York. It has 89 bus bays. The terminal is quite simple, with a brutalist design and a minimal shop selection. I don't know if it's brutalist or just ugly, though. My journey today starts on platform 53. The bus has a scheduled travel time of 6 hours and 25 minutes, with a departure time of 11:30 a.m. The price of the ticket averages to 137 reais and 38 cents each way, which is equivalent to $27.51 as of May 28th, which is pretty cheap for such a long distance and comfortable ride. The boarding process was smooth, and very few people boarded the bus. Before boarding, I had to show identification. After leaving my bag on the platform to be checked, I was given an airport-style bag receipt to claim my bag on arrival. I sat on the second level, so to get to my seat, I had to climb these very steep stairs. I sat in seat number 1, right at the front of the bus, which had a great view out the front window. I was able to choose this seat for free. When I sat down, I noticed the overhead panel, whose buttons didn't do anything, even the personal light. There was also a stop request button, which I didn't know if it was used. The seats were super comfortable, like 10 out of 10. They were made of high-quality material and were very soft, including the headrest. They had a leg support, which I had never seen before, but is way better than the traditional footrest, and the recline was amazing as well. The bus departed right on time. The bus first got into Marginal Tiete, an urban highway on each side of the Tiete River. And then onto the Bandeirantes Highway. In Brazil, highway speed limits are different for light and heavy vehicles. On this highway, the light vehicle limit was 120 kilometers an hour, about 75 miles an hour, but the heavy speed limit was only 90 kilometers an hour, about 55 miles an hour, which includes the bus I was on. We then crossed the Rodoanel, the under-construction São Paulo ring road, and got out of the urban area. The bus passed some street racers and toll booths and exited onto Anhanguera. We then passed Jundiaí, the last city served by CPTM, the São Paulo Regional Rail Network. Our first stop was in the city of Campinas. After stopping, we got back onto Anhanguera, and shortly after stopped at the Graal Castelo service stop just outside of the city of Limeira for about half an hour. I love São Paulo's service stops because they are usually well-maintained, buffet-style restaurants and sell great food. The prices are more expensive than they should be, but once you convert into the dollar, it becomes quite reasonable. We exited the rock-paved service stop, and the bus turned onto the Washington Luiz Highway shortly afterward. It then started raining. We passed a mini Statue of Liberty at some sort of department store and continued on to our second stop in São Carlos. The city had traffic lights with timers, which is something that is becoming increasingly common in Brazil. They are very useful, and as someone interested in urbanism, they even let you better understand how the traffic cycles are programmed. We then got back onto the same highway, and I was able to check out the bathroom on the bus, which was downstairs. The bathroom was okay in general. There was a bad smell, like you would have in a public bathroom, but everything worked fine. It was my first time on a bus bathroom, and it was interesting trying to go while balancing because of all the bumps. After a while, the bus exited into the city of Araraquara. Just after exiting, the bus waited for a bit at the Empresa Cruz depot for a driver change. The bus then stopped at the bus terminal, and it stopped raining as well. After the stop, the bus got back onto Washington Luis. I got to see the first sign at Ibitinga, literally, before getting on to Rodovia Deputado Vitor Maida, a two-lane country highway. We passed another sign that had all of the following stops on it: Nova Europa, Tabatinga, and Ibitinga. After 27 kilometers, the bus went around a roundabout and turned onto an access road to stop in the small town of Nova Europa, which means, literally, New Europe. A decent amount of people boarded the bus here for the remaining towns. The bus stopped again just after leaving for some reason. I'm not sure if anyone got on or off. There seems to be a bike or walking path on this road, which is nice to see. After getting on the main highway and driving for 15 minutes or so, we exited the highway for Tabatinga, the penultimate stop. The sun then started to go down and it started raining again. The rain would stop and start. There were a few street stops on the way to the bus terminal. At the small terminal, some people disembarked and others boarded. The next stop is the bus's final stop, and the stop I'm getting off at, Ibitinga. At this point in the journey, it got too dark and rainy, so I didn't record too much more, although I did get this shot at the lights of Ibitinga in the distance. There was a stop just before the, quote, arched entrance, and another stop at the third Jesus roundabout of the trip. The bus arrived 14 minutes late at the Ibitinga bus terminal, making the trip 6 hours and 39 minutes long. They should probably adjust the schedule because I don't know how we could have gotten there much faster. On arrival, I collected my checked bag. The Ibitinga bus terminal is quite simple, consisting of a handful of platforms, waiting seats, some ticket offices, and bathrooms that I didn't use. All in all, the journey was very comfortable and definitely worth the price, especially if you consider the 75 reais of tolls you would have to pay if driving, not to mention the fuel costs, which would probably bring the total cost of the trip of driving higher or about the same as the cost of just taking the bus. The only downside of taking the bus is that it takes about an hour and a half longer than driving the trip, even when you include a 30-minute rest stop period. But unless you're making the trip with a big family or you're in a rush, the bus is pretty much always the better option. Overall, I would rate the experience a 9 out of 10. Thank you all for watching, and see you in the next one.